Hey everyone, welcome. I'm your host, Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy, here for February 3rd, 2025. This is the night sky this week. Hope you had a great weekend. Maybe you did some sky watching. Maybe you saw some of the amazing planetary parade that's making all the buzz on the internet lately. That's what we're going to be talking about today, getting some real information out there, hopefully of use to you, hopefully something that you can use to go out and actually observe it yourself, maybe even take some photographs too, which would be great. So, hey, if you find any value in this video, please do give it a thumbs up, share it, and of course, all important is subscribe to my channel. You don't want to miss any of the sky watching information that I provide on a regular basis. This is stuff that is for beginners, for seasoned sky watchers, just easy things that you can see with the naked eye, perhaps with binoculars, maybe a few things with telescopes too, but are really easy things, even that are accessible within city limits. You don't need to go out to a far away place in the countryside to see stuff in the sky. These are things that are very accessible and most of the time free for us to watch and observe. So why don't we just dive in? I've got the planetary program all set up, Sky Safari, my favorite program, and let's dive in. And I'd just love to hear where you're watching from. Do put it into the comments. I love seeing where all my sky watching friends around the world are located. So here we go. We've got the planetarium program all set up for February 3rd. Monday, and looking towards the southwest, this is where we get to see this view as the sun is setting. So let me just zoom in a little bit on there. What you can see, of course, is Saturn. It looks like a faint naked eye point of light, above which is a very bright Venus. Now, Venus is going to be the first object obviously see. Below Venus, you'll take a look, you'll see Saturn underneath that planet. And a third planet is joining the pair, is Neptune. Now, Neptune is something that you do need binoculars or telescopes to see, and you need to wait until it is a little bit darker. So let me just put, this is set at about, oh, I'd say about 5 there. You can see at the bottom, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, current time, as we're streaming now. I'm in Montreal, Canada, which is in the northeastern part of North America. It's very snowy. Yeah, I'm doing no sky watching tonight, guys. It's like I'm looking out my window. I don't know if you can see. If let me just put back and you can see what I'm experiencing here. Um, I can actually move my camera there. You can see everything is white outside and it's getting dark. It's snowing. It's just snowing. We've got about, oh, I'd say about 2 inches of snow, maybe, or 5 centimeters of snow, something like that out there. And it's been crazy cold. I mean, -15, -25 degrees Celsius. Very, very short sessions of stargazing, I have to tell you, with that kind of intense cold. I posted a picture of the moon posing next to Venus this weekend. I don't know if you saw that, because here, if we just go back to the planetarium program, I can show you what that setup was. Perhaps you saw that. If I go back a couple of days, let me just get it darker. If I go back, this was how the moon was paired with Venus. Perhaps you saw that. I took a picture of it with my smartphone. I have a very simple iPhone 15 Pro Max. Very simple. I actually loved it, how it takes a photograph, and just above the roof of my house. Very, very simple. And it's a gorgeous pairing. It was very eye-catching to see the crescent moon paired up with Venus. So this was Saturday night. You could see the pairing. It was really, really great. And like I said, I posted a picture, and so did many of you guys. Also shared some amazing photographs that you have taken through cameras, DSLR cameras, smartphones, telescopes, just amazing views. And if you haven't seen it, just hop onto my Facebook timeline and look at some of the pictures that were posted in the comments to that post I made with my photo. Just wonderful. So if we go back now, this is where the moon, you see the moon has moved away from that pairing with Venus, and it's all by its lonesome on Monday night. If we get a little bit darker tonight, you can see it's embedded in the Pisces constellation. That's where it is. The Pisces, the fishes zodiacal constellation, is where the crescent moon is located, and it's just to the left of the very famous Great Square of Pegasus. Pegasus, the flying horse. This is a traditional fall constellation. So what I mean by fall, the season referring to that constellation, it's evening, very convenient evening time observing. So not in the morning observing, but evening time, after supper time. This is something that's very high in the sky. But now we're in the winter, many months away from when it was prime time for Pegasus, and it's setting. So Pegasus is setting. You can still get views, like you say, this is at 6 o'clock, say at 7 o'clock. It's still low in the southwestern sky. It looks like a diamond, doesn't it? And it sometimes is referred to as this giant diamond asterism in the sky. Asterism is the word we use for a group of stars that forms an eye-catching pattern to the human eye. It's not a constellation. It's what we call an asterism. The most famous, by the way, asterism is the Big Dipper in Ursa Major, the Great Bear constellation. The Big Dipper is not just a constellation on itself. It's part of a bigger group of stars that forms the Great Bear constellation. But this is, you can see the moon is there. This is by, I've got it set for 7 o'clock at night. Remember, I'm in Montreal, Canada, which is mid-northern latitudes, right? So it's similar to what you would see if you were in Seattle, Washington, New York, Rome, Italy, London, in the UK, or maybe Tokyo, Japan. Similar kind of sky situation. If you're in the southern hemisphere, these are shifted, of course. But the moon's traveling amongst the planets. Now, we've all heard about the planetary alignment, right, guys? We've all heard about this. And I have to tell you, the buzz has been crazy. And there's just a lot of fake stuff out there, a lot of AI generated imagery that's just so frustrating for a person like me who actually makes a living communicating astronomy, because it's disappointing people. I've gotten countless a number of emails over the last few weeks of what's going on. Tell us what the real deal is. Is this what I'm going to see? A lineup with the moon close up. It's a lot of these things are composites as well. People don't pay attention to details necessarily, even like if there's a description that it is AI, or a mention in the description text that this is a composite. It's still, I think, people are going out and looking for these things, and they think that it's one night. It's also said, don't miss it. It's on now. Well, guess what? It's on for a whole month of February. You can see the planets. They're spread out in the evening sky from east to west. And let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, so if we go to the planetarium program and I zoom out. Okay, so if we just zoom out again, this is from Monday, February the 3rd, the setup. So you can see the west is here on the right-hand side. The eastern sky is right here on the left side, and so the south is in the middle. So if we were facing the southern sky, we have west on our right-hand side, east on our left-hand side. This is what you would see, and so you would see Saturn way low in the west. Neptune is only visible with binoculars and telescopes, so you can't see that with the naked eye. Neptune is invisible. Venus is by far the brightest of the planets, easily visible. There's the crescent moon tonight. Then there's Uranus. Uranus is, again, only visible with binoculars and telescopes, so don't expect to see that with the naked eye. Then there's Jupiter, very easy target with the naked eye, high in the southern sky in the early evening. Again, this is showing you what it's set at 7 o'clock. The clock is showing us 7 p.m. in the evening. This is what you're seeing. And then Mars over there in the southeastern sky or eastern sky, very distinctly orange red in hue. That's because of all the iron oxide dust that covers and sand that covers the entire planet. It gives it very distinctive orange red hue to it, even to the naked eye, very easily seen. And then, of course, you have all these other stars, bona fide stars around, like Betelgeuse, Procyon, Rigel, Sirius. These are all, and Capella up there, these are also in the mix there. So for those of you that are not maybe experienced in viewing the night sky, this can be a bit confusing. And when you see those posts on social media pronouncing how this alignment is the most spectacular thing once in a lifetime, it's not. It happens. Something like this, you can see this many planets, 6 or 7 planets, because by the way, we will have a 7th planet, Mercury. Mercury is going to be visible. I'll show you here quickly, the 7th planet in part of it. You'll have to wait until end of February for that. That is going to be at sunset, and it's going to be at the end of February. You can see if I go, if you look at the bottom here, you can see I'm moving the dates. It's the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. We're at the 20th, and there you can see Mercury just coming above the sun. I'm just going to set the sun a little bit quicker here. So it's sunset. You can easily see, I want you to easily see Saturn and Mercury. Mercury is going to come into the picture. It'll be a bit of a challenge, but by like the 24th of February, you'll also have Mercury getting close to Saturn. So this is the 24th. You can mark that down on your calendar. Monday, the 24th of February in the evening, about a half hour, 45 minutes after sunset, look for Saturn next to Mercury. Binoculars will help you pick that out because of the glare of the sunset. If you wait a little bit more after sunset, you'll see that pair down there, way close to the western horizon. So you have Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, which is binocular telescope, Venus, then you have Jupiter up there still, and oh yeah, and of course, if I make it darker, you'll see Uranus is there too. So between Venus and Jupiter is Uranus, again, binocular telescope, and then Mars there. So you have 1, 2, 3, sorry, 1, 2, 3 with Uranus, 4 with Venus, Neptune, and I got to get a little bit back earlier in the evening, Neptune there, 5, Saturn 6, Mercury 7. So you'd have 7 planets in one evening that you'll be able to see around the end of February, the last week of February. I would say mark February 24th down on your calendar, because then you'll be able to get all 7 planets in one shot. But you'll need binoculars and telescopes definitely to see Uranus and Neptune. If you want to add those into your bucket list, Uranus and Neptune are going to need, you're going to need those binoculars and telescopes. Definitely for Neptune, that is a very a challenging object. So, a lot of people are not expecting necessarily that Uranus and Neptune are going to be, so much of a challenge, but they are. So if we go back to what the sky is now, Monday, and we get it darker a little bit like that, so we can see all the planets. So there's the moon, as I said, on the Pleiades, right? So the moon is a great guidepost for finding planets, identifying planets, and all kinds of other deep sky targets as well, star clusters, for instance. So if we move to Tuesday, the 4th, you can see the moon is getting close to Uranus. By the 5th of February, this is going to be Wednesday. You'll see the moon pairing up with Uranus. So Wednesday night is going to be a great opportunity for you to knock Uranus off your bucket list, because it's going to be next to the moon. The moon is obviously going to have a glare associated with it, but you can cut through that glare with binoculars or a small telescope to find Uranus. And what you're looking for with Uranus is a bluish green disk that'll be below the moon. This is sort of what you'll see. The half-lit quarter, what we call first quarter moon, next to Uranus, which will be kind of underneath it in the sky. And you need basically a binocular or telescope to be able to find it. And it'll be this very distinct greenish blue disk. So that's what you're kind of looking for to bag Uranus as part of this planetary parade that everyone's talking about. So that's what you're going to see on Wednesday, February 5th. Then if we move to, oh, but before I go, actually, before I do that, now the moon is in Taurus. You can see Taurus constellation. If I just make it a bit darker at night by 7 or 8 o'clock at night, what you'll also notice is the moon will be a great guidepost for seeing a wonderful star cluster. The Pleiades star cluster, which is right next to it, you can see all the different names of the major stars. There's about 6 bright stars that are visible to the naked eye as a small little cluster. This is what it looks like to the naked eye, as a small little huddled cluster in the sky. Very even visible within, I would say within typical suburbs of big cities, you'll be able to see the Pleiades star cluster. And it's a really a great cluster. It's about 430 light years away, and you can see it clearly with the naked eye. But because the moon is so close, it's great to use a binoculars, and it's a beautiful sight because if you see it up close, it's quite pretty. I don't think I have a picture of it very close up, but if we zoom in, you can see all the stars that make up. There's like lots of stars, all these names you can see there, but really there's about 6 or 7 that are distinct, huddled in a small cluster, and it's going to be next to the moon. And in fact, for those of you that are on the western side of North America, you will be able to see the moon go in front of some of the stars of the Pleiades star cluster. So if I move this, let's see if we can get that centered, and we move like that. This is by midnight my time, and you can see like around, oh, I would say around midnight, you'll be able to start seeing. So midnight in Eastern time, which is about 9 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Pacific time is when you'd see that. Now I'm going to put a link to a great article at Sky and Telescope that has the list of all the timings for different cities across North America. So just hold on. After this live stream, I am going to put that up. So that's going to come up. And so again, this is for Wednesday night. Wednesday night, February 5th is when this will happen. So it's worth definitely a look. So let's just go back to the wide angle view, and we're going to see if we can get this onto the 4th of February, 5th of February, as I had it here. Let me just use that there in the magnification. And I want you to see what's going to happen by the 6th of February. Check this out. So we're going to move the moon. You can see the moon at the center here. There's Jupiter. Look at this. So a beautiful pairing on Thursday, February 6th. The moon is going to be posing with Jupiter, which is a very, very bright star. Not as bright as Venus. So the pairing is going to be very similar. It'll harken back to what you saw perhaps on Saturday when the moon was posing with Venus. But this time the moon will pose with Jupiter. It's a beautiful pairing. Again, this is in Taurus constellation, Taurus the bull. And you can see the waxing gibbous moon will be pairing with Jupiter. The two will look sort of like this through binoculars. And what's interesting is if you hold those binoculars steady enough, this is what you'll see. You can see the moons of Jupiter. Look at that. Those are the 4 big Galilean moons. Now, Jupiter has dozens of moons, except these 4 are easily visible with binoculars and small telescopes. And if you watch it over the course of a few hours, they actually move. I can show that movement in a second if I just center this view, and then if I move it by hour, you can see the movement, the orientation of the moons change. And look at the how the spacing. Look at Io moving closer and Ganymede moving closer. By 1 o'clock in the morning, this is what you would see. Very different from seeing the moons farther away from the planet, because of course these moons are orbiting Jupiter, right? You can see this up close. If we look at the orbital view of what I'm talking about, that's right here. And you can see if I zoom out a little bit, you can see the orbits of the moons. There's Europa, there's Io, Ganymede, and you can see the orbits like a miniature version of the solar system where we replace the sun with Jupiter, right, at the center. And all these little moons are orbiting the planet. Really impressive. And of course, this is why they appear to change over the course of a few hours. You can see as just as hour by hour, I'm changing this. Each click is an hour, and you can see that the moons are just as they orbit, they will appear different. Like this is the view that we would have from our planet, and you can see the movement of these moons as they circle the planet hour by hour. So you can see that difference in the positioning of the moons through binoculars. It's incredible. And you know who saw this first? Was Galileo in the early 1600s with the newly invented telescope. He pointed it at Jupiter and saw amazing details like this. Just incredible. So getting back to the sky, let's see if we can zoom out. There we go. And we move to, again, that was Thursday night. We're just going to oops, let's get that back. This is not 10, we don't want 10 o'clock in the morning. We want in the evening. So there is the view Thursday, February 6th. This is the view with the moon and Jupiter. And then on, we'll move to Friday. The moon's moving away from Jupiter, and the moon is between Jupiter now and Mars, the two very different worlds, right? And there's the moon sandwiched in between them. Then on Saturday, the moon is quickly approaching Mars. And by, this is really interesting, by Sunday, February 9th, the end of the week, we have that beautiful moon-moon pairing. We're going to just zoom in on that. Let's just see if we can do that. Hold on. We go, whoops, let's just move that there. And there you go. That is an incredible view. It's kind of actually forms an L shape. Look at this, guys, with the two Gemini stars, Castor and Pollux, the main stars, the brightest stars in the constellation Gemini, the twins. And there's the moon and Mars. And if you can draw a line amongst the four objects, they form the letter L. Isn't that interesting? That's a beautiful site. Highly recommend it. A great photo op. So if you've got clear skies, this is something that you can try your hand at photographing. And it's a near full moon, so it'll be quite bright, the glare of the moon. But Mars should be quite distinctive with its orange-red coloration. So that is something very, very cool. Yes, and that's Betelgeuse nearby as well. So again, this is going to be the view high in the eastern sky, early evening on Sunday, February 9th. So for me, in terms of if when we're talking about the planetary alignment, I would say this is probably, this is probably the best one out of everything is this week, the moon posing with the different planets. Highly recommend it. It's easy to see. Again, you don't have to go out of the city to see it. Binoculars and telescopes will help with Uranus and Neptune. Your smartphone is going to be awesome to take photographs using your smartphone, definitely of these pairings of the moon and these bright planets. And just remember, just enjoy it. I mean, it's not all that rare. Something like this happens maybe once a decade in the evening skies, for sure. Clustering of 2, 3 planets, that happens maybe once every year or two. So the rarity, it's not all that rare. Doesn't have any big astronomical significance. It's the beauty of it. It's the sheer accessibility for people to be able to see something cool. Don't expect to see Uranus and Neptune with the naked eye. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on that, but that's the way it is. 4 or 5 planets. Remember, Mercury will be your next on your bucket list the last week of February. We'll talk more about it in our upcoming episodes, so don't worry, I'll remind you about it. And of course, I'll be publishing all the sky charts for these during the week as we head towards each of these events. I send out a reminder. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, X, or Twitch. It's good to be subscribed so you don't miss those notifications and have those sky charts handy as well. So with that, thanks so much for joining me and spending a few moments of your time. I see everybody chiming in from different places. I'll be looking through all of that on YouTube and on Facebook. I see uh, folks from Colorado are there, all Germany. We've got California there, Wisconsin, Connecticut. Wow, lots of people from all over. Los Angeles. Gordon, thanks for joining us. Yeah, doesn't matter where you are. This planet parade is awesome to see. If you have a new telescope or binoculars, take it out. This is a great opportunity. I'm here to answer questions. Put them in the comments, and I'd love to hear from you. Again, thanks for joining. And, hey, I hope you get clear skies wherever you are. Until next time, stay safe. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.